Hey, hey. We are now live. Thank you, Hannah. Coming on here. 6 o'clock on the dot. Come on. We did it. Hope all you guys are doing well. We're going to hang out here for a couple minutes. Will you just write on there where you're from? Sorry, I'm just getting things set up, getting things ready. Wow, lots of hearts. Come on. Welcome, welcome, guys. Twin View, come on. Minnesota, welcome. Portland. How many of you saw the last two that we did of these? Ohio, Nashville. Hey, Deeds. Nice to see you. Eureka, Houston, Gig Harbor, Washington. Come on. This is good. This must be a good time for you guys. A lot of you are coming on here. Seattle, Arizona. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Kansas, Vancouver Island. Oh, I love Vancouver. I love Gastown. Cubicle at Bethel. Ryan, you should come hang out with me sometime. Mexico, Edmonton. Welcome, guys. Thank you. I appreciate you guys listening to my ministry and us here. It's a pleasure to serve you. Miami, Mexico again. Come on. Just gonna wait another minute or so. Let a couple more people get on here. If you don't know who I am, I'm Seth Dahl, children's pastor at Bethel Church in Redding, California. Been in children's ministry for over 14 years. Hey, Jacob. Hello, Redding. Been in children's ministry for quite some time. Worked with a lot of teams. Yes, I'm feeling a little bit better. Thank you. I was sick yesterday. Hey, Pete. And I'm still drinking lots of water all over. Yeah, Snapchat told you. Snapchat's awesome. I like Periscope and Snapchat a lot. I really like Snapchat. Jason Chin is your boy. Hello. Thank you, Toledo. Hey, Jubes. Sorry, I'm just going to keep drinking. Yes, sir. My kids got sick, and I got sick. And now... Why? Is Havilah on at the same time? She probably is. Those apple cider shots look gross. Yesterday I did apple cider vinegar. I did garlic and cayenne pepper all together. Oh, man. They're intense. All right, I'm gonna wait too much longer. With the mother, that's right. Nothing better. All right, you guys ready to start? We're gonna do round 3 of children's ministry classroom management. Yeah, ginger shots are good. All right, if you're just joining again, I'm Seth Dahl, children's pastor of Bethel Church in Redding, California. And we've been doing a series on classroom management. We get a lot of questions about it. We constantly are making adjustments to it. We've got a lot of experience here. I worked in Metro Ministries with 1,000 kids at a time, and now we have about 100 kids at a time here at Bethel. And we've worked through quite a lot of things, learned quite a lot of things, and we want to share them with you and benefit you, bless you. So this is classroom management round 3. This one is called Agreements and Accountability. Let me just go over some of the things we talked about last time. The first thing I said actually in the first video, session 1, was we're not trying to get control of a room full of children. We're wanting to make a connection with each of them. That's the foundation of classroom management, is the connection with the kids. You can have all the techniques and all the tools and all the tricks in the world, but if you don't have connection, that's all they are, is tricks. If you have connection, these just enhance what it is that you're doing, but the connection will actually give the kids a reason to listen to you. More so than their parents made them come to church and their parents want them to. They'll actually listen to you if they feel connected to you. So that's foundation number 1. That was in the first video that we did. I also talked about boundaries without freedom is religion, and freedom without boundaries is chaos. And probably if you've been in children's ministry for any amount of time, you know if you have freedom without boundaries, the room can get really crazy, really chaotic. So That's what we talked about in the first one as well. I talked about the water slide with no sides. One question I asked the kids is, how many of you would like to go on a water slide that has no sides? It's just a bottom, and none of them want to go on it. And that's what Boundaries do in kids' churches. They actually put sides on the water slide so that you are safe in the room. So you're safe as you're having fun, as you're going down. You can make adjustments, make turns, and not fall off. So no kid wants to go down a water slide that has no boundaries. Just like we don't want to have a children's church with no boundaries. And then last week I talked about rewards and consequences. Hebrews 11:6. We must believe God is, and He's a rewarder of those who diligently seek Him, and that's what pleases Him. Without faith, it's impossible to please Him. We must believe He is, and He's a rewarder of those who seek Him. So we talked about rewards, we talked about consequences, we talked about consequences actually help children create internal controls. Most times people are trying to control kids externally, but if you allow consequences to happen, kids will begin to develop internal controls where they make decisions for themselves. If I do this, it causes that. If I do this, it causes that. And they actually think about what they want to do before they do it, the choices they make. It creates internal controls when you allow kids to experience both rewards and consequences for their choices. So that's just a review. Last week we went over the quiet seats with the balloon, if you remember that. That's what we did in Metro. It's what we did here for a really long time. We don't actually do that here now. This week what I'm going to talk about is what we do right now with the kids here. So we call them agreements. And I call this one agreements and accountability because agreements bring such a strong sense of accountability. Give me just one second. With what we've called agreements are things that we go over with the children at the beginning of the day, and then we go over them again right before the lesson. So we have, before worship time, we go over our agreements, and then after worship we have a bathroom break, and then they all come back and we start the lesson and we go over the agreements again. So we review them 2 times in front of everyone, and the agreements are basically this. Our team has prepared a lesson for you. We've worked hard, we've prepared, we've thought about this, we've prayed about this, and us as a team have prepared a lesson just for you. And we've agreed that we are going to give you the best lesson we possibly can, and we've agreed to give our full attention for this entire service to you guys, the children. So that's our agreement for them. Then we ask them, we're asking that you give your full attention to whoever's teaching up here. We ask that you give your full attention to God. The reason we are here is so you can learn about God and experience Him and find out what you're here to do in the world. And that's what we want to bring to you today. But if you don't agree to give your attention, then that's not going to happen. So we tell the kids what we've agreed to give them our full attention and bring them an incredible lesson. And we ask them to agree to give us their full attention and God their full attention, to put all their attention on Him while they're in the class. And then we ask them to give us a thumbs up, so all the kids give us a thumbs up, and boom, we've made an agreement. Some places would call it a social contract, but that's what we agree upon with the kids every Sunday before worship, and then we remind them again before the lesson. So I'm going to go over some of the things we say and do when we need to bring correction because children aren't doing what they agreed to do. So kind of gonna go over the language that we use. The first thing we do though is we don't actually want anyone on the microphone to do the correcting of the children. The reason for that is then that kid is called out in front of all their friends, in front of all the other kids. So we want to avoid that as much as possible. I don't want to be standing on stage and say, hey, Jimmy, stop, or hey, Sophie, stop, or whatever. I don't want anyone on the stage calling people out on the microphone. So the only way that happens is if all the team, the rest of the people that are in with the kids, are empowered to bring consequences and to bring a language that helps kids make choices and stick with what they agreed to do. So we've been training our whole teams in this. We train them every year. We've been training them again. I'm going to tell you exactly, basically word for word, what it is that we say. So if I'm on the mic and I'm teaching and there's kids that are talking, they're not giving their full attention to the teacher who's up there, one of the volunteers or a couple of the volunteers will come around and they'll come up to the kids and they'll ask them a question first. Oh, first I need to tell you something. When we empower the volunteers to correct children, the last thing we want to do is get the volunteers to start paying attention only to kids who are misbehaving. We actually want to create a place where they're looking for the good. They're looking to encourage the children who are paying attention, encourage the children who are really focused, who really have their attention on the teachers. And so what we've got is we've got the little tickets. I think I told you about this last week. We have little tickets where a kid can get it, and then later we draw tickets and they can win a prize, a little toy or something. So we have our teachers looking to find kids who are doing what they agreed to do, to give their full attention up to the teacher. But what that does is then it's also easy for them to notice when kids aren't doing what they agreed to do and aren't giving their full attention. So we don't ever want our volunteers and our team to just be looking for the bad. We want them looking for the good. But all right, so let's say you're in the middle of the lesson and there are kids that are talking. Here's the first thing that we do. We come up to them and we say, "Hey guys, do you remember what you agreed to do and what we agreed to do?" And usually they'll say, "Yes, we agreed to pay attention and we agreed to give our attention to the front." We'll say, "Yeah, all right. So here's what I'm going to ask you. Do you want to give your attention to the front, or do you want to sit on the wall separated from each other?" Basically, we're asking, are you going to be able to sit together and give your attention, or do you need me to split you up and put you on the wall? You know, this is a rendition of Danny Silk's No Fun Chair. It's not a no fun chair because when kids are sitting on the floor, a chair is actually really fun. So we put them on the walls, separated from each other, so then they can give their attention up front. So that's the first thing we do when we approach them and say, "Do you remember what you agreed to? All right, are you guys able to do that and give your attention to the front, or do you need me to separate you and put you on the wall so you can give your attention to the front?" Most of the time the kids will say, "Oh, we can do it. We got this. We can put our attention on the front." And say, "Awesome. All right, go ahead. Do that." And then we just leave them alone and we let them go back to give their attention, but then we keep watching them just to make sure they're actually doing what they agreed to do. Now, let's say they're talking again, and we come up and we say, "Oh, guys, hey, you told me you were going to be able to give your attention to the front, and you're not. You're still talking. You're still messing around. So now I'm going to have to separate you, and I'm going to have to put you on the wall. So I need you to go on this wall over here, and I need you to go on this wall over here." But here's what we do. When we send them over to the wall, we tell them, "Hey guys, when you are ready to give your attention up to the teachers, then go ahead and come off the wall whenever you're ready. I'm not going to make you stay there all day. Whenever you're ready to give your attention to the front, come off the wall and come find me and let me know you're ready." And so what that does is it still keeps the power, it keeps the choice in their court, where they're sitting on the wall, but they're thinking, "Am I ready to give my attention to the front? If I am, I'm free to come off the wall. I just go to Pastor Seth, or I go to whatever volunteer is the one that spoke to them." You always want them to come to the same volunteer. So they come to the same volunteer and they say, "All right, I'm ready. I'm ready to pay attention. I'm ready to give my attention to the front. I'm ready to listen." They're like, "Awesome. All right, now I'm going to keep you separated. So do you want to pick a spot away from your friend, or do you want me to pick a spot away from your friend? But you can't sit together because you were already messing around a couple times." And they'll say, "Oh, I want to pick a spot." So we let them pick a spot. One will go sit over here. One will go sit over here. But now they're back in the class giving their attention. Give me a second. My throat's still a little hoarse. Hopefully that wasn't too loud in the mic. Now let's say they come to you at a bad time. You're in the middle of something, helping some other kids. You always want to say, "Give me a minute." Don't drop what you're doing because they're ready. Have them just wait for you. Say, "Just hold on a second. Let me finish this, and I'd love to talk." and then give them your attention and say, all right, you ready to come off the wall? Yeah, I'm ready. And then bring them back off the wall. So then when they come back to talk to you though, and they say, I'm ready to go back, and you've said, all right, do you want to sit, do you want to pick spots by yourself, or do you want me to pick your new seats for you away from each other? They say, we want to pick them. And then you say, okay, here's what we're going to do, guys. Next time, if you're messing around again, I've already put you on the wall. I'm already sending you back in to give your attention to the front. We've agreed to this. If you do this again, then we're going to have to go talk to either Pastor Seth or one of the other leaders, staff, not just volunteers. We're going to have to go talk to one of the other pastors, and they're going to have to decide if we call your parents. Now, this is going to be another video I'm calling requesting backup when you call parents for help. But that puts a little bit more accountability on the kids, because now they know you're actually serious when you came back to them and you put them on the wall. And then when they come back to you and you're sending them back to their seats. But they're knowing, hey, this guy is actually keeping his promise when he says he's going to do something. He's actually allowing me to face consequences for my choices. And the next choice is they could call my parents. So now they're thinking, if I mess up again, I could have my parents called. And it just brings another level of accountability, which is really good for these guys. Not to scare them, not to make them afraid, just to bring more accountability. I will explain that more in another video, but it really, really helps if you do it right. It doesn't help if you do it wrong. But then once you've sent them there and they're back in, let's say they're messing around with a different kid, then you got to go to them and say, hey guys, this is the third time we've chatted. You've already been on the wall. You've already come to me. You said you were gonna pay attention and give your attention to the teachers several times now, and you're still not doing it. Then you need to make a decision whether or not you take them to the volunteers, then bring them to either me or another staff pastor. But then I have to make a decision. Do I call their parents or do I handle this? A lot of times it helps to call their parents, but a lot of times too, I can handle it or the other staff pastor will handle it. That's kind of up to you what you want to do with that. Either way works, just depending on how you handle it. But I would recommend, if you told them you were maybe going to call their parents, then it might help to call their parents if they've given you trouble over and over and over again. So that was kind of the breakdown of what the language that we use during the lesson. But I know a lot of times during worship time it gets a little bit crazy. So what we do at worship time is we have 3 different groups. We have kids that are dancing over here. We have kids that are doing hand motions in the middle. And then we have kids that are soaking over here. So we've got 3 things happening in the room all the time. And say some kids are messing around, then a volunteer can come to them and say, hey guys, instead of saying, do you remember what we agreed to? They say, hey guys, what area are you in right now? What area are you supposed to be in? Are you dancing? Are you doing hand motions? Or are you soaking? They say, oh, I'm dancing. Like, all right, you're not really dancing. Then we ask the same things. Do you want to go back over and dance, or do you want to sit on the wall until you're ready to go back and dance? And we keep all the power in their courts, keep all the choice in their courts. We use really similar language, but instead of, do you remember what we agreed to, we ask them, what area are you supposed to be in right now? So just a quick little thing to make sure you heard one part. If you as a leader are not allowing children to face consequences that you've set in place, then you're actually breaking trust with them. Sometimes it's hard to follow through with them, but if you don't follow through, they're not going to learn. And if you don't follow through, you're going to break trust. And if you break trust, it doesn't matter what you're talking about up at the front. If kids don't trust you because you haven't followed through with the boundaries that you've set, if kids don't trust you there, they're not going to trust you when you're on the mic. So this actually helps classroom management more so than just managing the kids that are talking. It's building trust over and over and over. And when you follow through with kids over and over and over, and you're consistent in your follow through, pretty soon they know you mean what you say. And when you stand on the mic, they know you mean what you say. This is so important. If you give them boundaries and don't follow through, it doesn't matter what you say from the stage. You're not building trust. And trust either builds the connection or breaks the connection, which is the foundation of all classroom management. So I'm going to give a couple minutes. I've been talking here for 18 minutes or so. If any of you have questions right now, go ahead, type them in. Thank you, Eileen, Watson. If any of you have any questions, go ahead, write them in. I'm going to give a couple minutes, and then I'm going to tell you what we're doing tomorrow, because we are going to do this again tomorrow, and I'm very excited. Nobody has any questions? All right. Now's your chance. So we've been, in each of these Periscopes, I've told people, if you want to ask questions that I can, oh, here I go. Will you talk about classroom management and preschool age? Yes. Just not right this minute. I want to do that. I want to do a classroom management for preschool, and that actually helps me tell you what I'm going to do tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm bringing in our special needs pastor. She works with kids with autism. She works with kids with ADD. She works with kids with special needs. We have kids that are blind. We have kids that are deaf. We have all kinds of special needs. Probably you do too. We have kids that have special needs that are high functioning and can actually operate in a classroom. Then we have a special classroom for kids who aren't able to do that. Give me a second. So tomorrow at 2 o'clock, I am going to, no, it's not Kiki anymore. Kiki moved. It's Angela Locke. So she will be here. And we're going to do it at 2 o'clock, but she's going to talk about special needs both in a classroom with where they're integrated and in a classroom by themselves. So if you have questions about that, get ready and try and ask them at 2 o'clock. If it's not a good time for you, you can ask them at SethDahl.com. Just click on I'm a children's pastor and ask your question and get your free gift. Somebody asked a question. Sorry. I was trying to read that one and answer the last one. Someone asked in the last one, if you've broken trust before and you haven't built those up, I would say first thing is apologize. Like, hey guys, you know, I've actually told you I was going to do some things and I haven't, and I'm sorry. Please forgive me for not being honest with you and not following through with what I told you I was going to do. And from now on, I'm going to work on it. The beautiful thing about this is when you have good boundaries and good language, it helps you not feel like you're punishing kids. There is a major difference between consequences and punishment. And I'll probably end up talking about that again some other time. But a lot of times we're afraid to allow consequences because we think we're punishing children. So we don't follow through because we're like, oh man, if I do that, I'm going to hurt them. They're not going to like me. They're not going to like church, they're not going to like God. And we do all this deduction in our heads and we go to places that simply aren't true. But if you have good language, like I'm talking about today, it helps you stay so calm, it helps you stay so peaceful that you can actually, when you present consequences, you're just giving them consequences. You're allowing consequences for their choices rather than bringing punishment, which is awesome, and it'll help you feel like then you can follow through a lot easier. Sorry, there's been people asking questions and I'm missing them. Can you write them again? Someone asked something about the inner city, and somebody asked something about, I don't know. Sorry, I missed it. It's hard to answer questions and read questions at the same time. I'm trying to do it. So I'm going to wait just another minute because I saw 2 more really good questions. Oh, best advice for a substitute stepping into another's behavioral procedures. I'm not really sure, like if you're a teacher in a classroom and you're only there for one time. Versus if you're in a kid's church, I would say if you're stepping in only for one time, I would just explain right out of the gate. Like, hi, my name is Seth. Mr. Dahl, whatever your name is, I would say, hi, here's my name, class. Glad to be here. I'm your substitute for the day. And I'm not really sure what your teacher does on a regular basis, but here's what I'm going to need for this class today in order for us to get everything done that we need to get done, and in order for you guys to learn. Here's how I'm going to handle this. And you just set your boundaries at the beginning, right out the gate, so they know the expectations, they know what's going on, and you've also told them, I'm not really sure what your teacher's done before. here's what I'm going to do. If you're taking over a class and you're going to be there more consistent, then I'd say just work it in from the whole time, and you won't have to worry about it, because pretty soon through the process of education, they'll learn what you do in your class for that. I'd love to hear strategies for inner city children that haven't been exposed to this type of classroom management. Awesome question, Tanya. So the last video I did, session 2, it's on my Facebook and it's on YouTube. That question, what I did with the quiet seats and the balloons, that works super well with inner city kids. Super well. When we did it in New York, we would have 1,000 kids in one room. All the kids were from the inner city, the projects, the homeless shelters. These kids had no real structure in their life until they came to Sunday school. And we would put those balloons up, explain them, and man, you could hear a pin drop on the carpet with these kids. It was amazing. So I would look at that one. That one's really designed for kids who don't have anything. Yeah, watch it this weekend. It's good. It's like 15 minutes. Session 2, quiet seats. And I think I called it creating internal controls through consequences, but that one's really good too. Any more questions? We got a couple more minutes. Thank you guys for asking questions. I like this. Again, if you need to ask more questions that I cannot answer here, you can ask them on SethDahl.com, and you can just click children's. Yes, I'm a children's pastor. Click there. You get a free gift, free sermon, I think, and you can ask away. And I'm keeping track of all your questions so I can do more of this. So unless we have another question, how do you deal with anger outbursts? Like in a classroom, if kids get really angry, I intentionally go extra calm so that I'm not matching their emotion and I'm not meeting them where they're at. And I work to help them get below the surface of the anger to the actual problem. Anger is most often a cover-up for pain. So one thing I like to do both with my own children and with kids in the class, if they're getting really angry, one of the things I say is, hey, it sounds like something hurt you. Did somebody do something that hurt you? Are you hurt? And I try to help them pay attention to the pain instead of the anger, because the anger is trying to protect them from the pain that they're feeling. The anger is trying to hurt people because they're hurt. The anger is trying to keep them from getting more hurt. And so I try to go that direction instead of saying things like, don't get angry, don't get mad, like, wow, I see you're really angry. Something must have hurt you. Are you hurting? Did somebody do something to hurt you? Did somebody do something to hurt your feelings? Like, hey, you seem like you're in a lot of pain right now. Things like that to help them move out of anger into the real emotion that, yes, I'm hurt. They did something that hurt me. All right. Then you can go from there. But just addressing the anger, usually you don't get to the actual problem. You just deal with the surface. So, all right, we are running out of time. Thank you very much. So thanks, guys, for watching. Again, if you have questions, go to SethDahl.com. You can click on parent. You can click on children's pastor. You can get free gifts from each one. And you can ask questions like crazy. And I'm going to keep doing Periscopes to answer them. The more you ask questions, the more I will answer. And just a reminder, tomorrow, 2 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, special needs classroom management is going to be awesome. Thanks again for watching, guys. It's a pleasure to serve you. Thank you very much, Deeds. How often do you scope? Usually once a week, sometimes more. When was the special needs session again? Tomorrow, 2 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, California time. And I do more than once a week, but these I'm kind of trying to do once a week, twice a week. I'm posting them on Facebook and on the mailing list when I'm going to do them, and Instagram as well, so I can try to let as many of you know as possible. But tomorrow, Angela Locke. Special needs, classroom management. It's going to be amazing. Bless you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.